Hey guys, it's KJ from the Thescariestmovieever channel on YouTube. And we are truly living in very interesting times. Even though nothing physically manifested in December of 2012, I believe something spiritual opened up. It's my belief that that was right around the time of the apocalypse, the beginning of the apocalypse, or the great unveiling. Because since 2012, we've seen so much truth come to light in this world. And that's also while at the same time, we're currently engaged in so much censorship. We're seeing major censorship from all the mainstream news sources, and of course all the social media sources as well. I really don't think they ever expected the internet to do this, to bite them back the way it has. But they gave a voice to the common people. They gave a voice to the people that are still using their logic, their reason, their common sense, their critical thinking, and their spiritual discernment. We see through the script of the mainstream narrative. And this is very dangerous to the beast system. This story right here came out in January of 2013. Again, right around the time, I believe, that the apocalypse began, which is an unveiling, the truth coming out on everything. Apocalypse Now, why the movies want the world to end every year. This is massive predictive programming, massive social engineering. We see this all the time. Here's another news story from a few years later, yet it's the same subject. Why is the world ending in almost every blockbuster movie lately? We are being conditioned for this. It also falls in line with the apocalypse. The end times. I believe we're in that season. We even see the concept in all of our newest films. This is Mission Impossible Fallout. This movie just came out. It's a Tom Cruise movie. And in this movie, the bad guys want to destroy the, quote, old world order. And again, this is that Illuminati programming, order out of chaos, the phoenix rising from the ashes. It's interesting, though, that in this film, part of the old world order they talk about is Jerusalem, and it's also the Vatican. And it's important to make that distinction. Let's not forget that there's an Illuminati pyramid with an eye on top of the Supreme Court building in Israel. This has more to do with the synagogue of Satan, or the infiltrators. This is not condemning every single person that's from Israel. And of course, Satan is the spirit that runs the Vatican. I've done videos on this for years, other people have as well. The symbolism alone surrounding the Vatican will blow your mind if you've never actually looked into this. And we see the same thing in this most recent Avengers film from Marvel in the bad guy Thanos. Thanos wants to wipe out half of the population of the universe. He believes this will be a purification, again, the phoenix rising from the ashes, killing large amounts of people for the, quote, greater good. And as this as above so below paradigm often will do, or this beast system often will do, it makes heroes out of the enemies. Tons of Avengers Infinity War fans think Thanos might be right. Part of what makes Thanos and Avengers Infinity War so scary is that his evil plan makes a certain amount of rational sense. The greatest enemy of the Marvel Cinematic Universe isn't Thanos, it's overpopulation that will eventually lead to famine and ruin. By writing his own narrative, Thanos becomes the hero if he succeeds in wiping out half of the universe's population from existence. Thanos isn't a generic villain like Ultron or Steppenwolf who simply wants to destroy everything. He's much more calculated, even logical in his approach, and more than 20,000 people in the real world agree with him enough to subscribe to a subreddit called Thanos Did Nothing Wrong. And speaking of the villain Steppenwolf, who is in the movie Justice League, well, this is another one that was filled with end-of-times symbolism. As we know, the devil goes by many names, also goes by many different images. We almost always see bad guys these days in so many different movies, pictured as the horned villain, the horned beast. Also, in Justice League the film, you literally have Revelation 9/11 playing out. They have the locusts from the pit coming up. Even in the movie, one of the characters describes them as demons, another character describes them as insects. So again, we see the same story playing out in so many different movies and TV shows. Symbolically here you have the devil in hell with his locusts rising up out of the pit. And this bad guy's ultimate goal is, of course, to destroy everything, destroy humanity, destroy the old ways so a new way can arise, the phoenix. So remember, it's not people we're battling against. It's not people that are putting these kinds of images and ideas out there. These are spirits and principalities that work through people. This is the beast system we're in. We're constantly shown the same idea over and over and over again. Especially now in the apocalypse, in the great revealing. Here's another example. This is from Conchita Wurst, who is a cross-dressing singer who won the Eurovision Awards 2014 for singing her song, Rise Like the Phoenix. So this one's very interesting. We have that beast system, or that Illuminati idea of order out of chaos, of burning everything down and starting anew. I believe we're at a time in our existence right now where we're all kind of waiting on this next 9/11. The next event. This will be their renewal. This will be their wiping a lot of things out, a lot of people out, and then rebuilding from the ashes, rising like a phoenix. The true New World Order, the one world religion, the Antichrist system. So it's interesting we have that combination here of the destruction and the end for the beginning. And we also have the transsexual angle on this, or the Baphomet agenda as I call it. Remember, this was in 2014, and just look at how much of this subject we see all around us right now. So what else have we seen now over these last few years? You see, now we have the Baphomet statues. Now this is just one example. There's many of these. And all of these are put out by the Satanic Temple. But again, this is a consciousness we're dealing with. These are principalities. These are spirits working through people. So this stuff is no longer hidden in the shadows. We see it all coming out into the open. And keeping in mind that traditionally the Baphomet is a transgender. So we see this obvious connection between the transgender and this satanic movement. I want to show you another example of how this Baphomet agenda is on the rise. Again, this is a consciousness thing. Woman 21 killed boyfriend during sex and satanic ritual before dismembering him. But wait, there's more. Even right here it says it is feared the body was dismembered so it resembled the satanic idol Baphomet. The two people involved in this were known to be interested in the occult. There are people in this world who have completely sold out to that satanic consciousness. Or sold out to the devil himself. And as we're told, you can judge a person by their fruits. What are they putting out? Ryan Murphy, the creator of American Horror Story, is definitely one of these people, I believe, that's completely sold out and is being used. Speaking of apocalypse, this is the name of the new season for American Horror Story. And it's literally dealing with the Antichrist being a baby. So all of this is really symbolic about the great revealing of the Antichrist, the man of sin, the son of perdition. The image from the new season of American Horror Story reminded me of this right here. It's from St. John's Pillars in New York City. You should look these up sometime if you're interested. Lots of hidden meanings, lots of occult symbolism there. It actually shows a tsunami taking over New York City and just destroying everything in its path. There's other symbolism there as well, but this is one of the symbols I found very interesting, and again it reminds me of that image of the baby Antichrist for the new season of American Horror Story. This is everything we're talking about. This shows the destruction. This shows the next 9/11. This shows the order out of chaos. This shows the phoenix rising from the ashes, or really the Antichrist rising from the ashes. And of course, this really is all about making Satanism go mainstream. We see this promoted through many different television series and movies now. And all this actually reminded me of this interview that just came out recently about Evan Peters. He's one of the main actors in American Horror Story. Evan Peters opens up about the emotional toll American Horror Story has on him, and it's heartbreaking. Speaking to GQ, Evan detailed just how difficult it is for him to portray some of the roles that Ryan Murphy throws his way. When asked about the intense roles he's had to play over the past few years, Evan said, "I'm goofy, I'm silly, I like to have fun. I don't like to yell and scream, I actually hate it. I think it's disgusting and really awful, and it's been a challenge for me. Horror Story sort of demanded that from me. To be honest, Evan has probably had it the hardest when it comes to American Horror Story. Almost every single one of his roles has been emotionally challenging. He's had to play a school shooter, an asylum patient, a boy who was molested by his mother and brought back to life as a zombie, a member of a freak show and a serial killer, an actor and a ghost, and of course, the absolutely brutal cult leader Kai Anderson. It's been all a massive stretch for me and really difficult to do, he says of playing those characters. It's hurting my soul, and Evan as a person. There's this massive amount of rage that's been called upon for me, and the emotional stuff that's been called on me for pose has been heartbreaking, and I'm sick. I don't feel good. When asked what kind of toll the sinister stuff takes on him, his answer was just as heartbreaking. It's just exhausting. It's really mentally draining, and you don't want to go to those places ever in your life, and so you have to go there for the scenes, and it ends up integrating it somehow into your life. You're in traffic, and you find yourself screaming, and you're like, what the hell? This isn't who I am. I fight really hard to combat that, and make sure that I'm watching comedies and hanging out with my fiance, and chilling with friends and watching movies. I just want to throw this in there as well. I had the TV on in the background the other night. They had the roast, the Comedy Central roast of Bruce Willis. And as I'm always saying, we're in a beast system. We can learn a lot through the language of symbols. We see it all around us. So this is a guy that's really popular on these roasts. He's a comedian named Jeff Ross. Now, I'm not even saying these people are all aware of this stuff. They may be. I'm sure some of them are on the higher levels. Maybe some of them aren't. But the symbolism's all around them. Because on this Comedy Central roast of Bruce Willis, I find some of the same symbols I see in so many other places. So the backdrop are little Saturns. These are symbols of Saturn. And at the same time, they're connected in a hive. So this is the beehive. This is holding everybody's mind in a satanic consciousness. It's a hive mind. We've seen this before. So we go back to one of the other seasons of American Horror Story, and this is from Cult. And once again, we see on clear display the satanic hive mind. You can even see it in the background. Little Saturns, also connected. The hive mind, the beast system consciousness. And of course, we have the Hollywood Masonic connection. You have the checkerboard floor there as well. You remember, we see these signs and symbols pop up together all the time. Another common symbol we find in this beast system is the red, black, and white color coding. This goes back to the Church of Satan. So we have the red, black, and white color coding, we have the checkerboard floor, we have Saturn symbolism, we have the beehive or the hive mentality. And if you look over here to the left side, they actually stand on the Baphomet. They stand on the upside down star while they're doing the roast. And this is just as a point of reference. This comes from literally a satanic fashion show they did in London in an old church just a few months ago. But you can see a lot of the common satanic symbolism in here as well. The red, black, and white color coding, the checkerboard floor, and a lot of Masonic symbolism in the background. Here's another point of reference. This is from a video called Doom or Destiny from Debbie Harry of Blondie and also Joan Jett. I did a video on these two witches a little while back and on this song, but again, all the satanic symbolism and imagery. Debbie Harry's wearing the yellow and black, and she has a little bee lapel pin, so she knows all about the hive mind. She also has the upside down star, the Baphomet, and she also has a little UFO on there as well. If you've been watching my videos for a long time, you'll understand that oftentimes with these symbols, they run together, and they need to. We need confirmations. You can't just find one symbol in one thing and say, hey, that means something. Not necessarily. A lot of this is a part of our collective consciousness now. But it's when you find multiple symbols together is when you get the complete story. So this right here is also from the Doom or Destiny video, and as you can see, the transgender agenda is in here as well. Also with the 666 right there, right? So you're starting to see how all this connects a little more. Because there is a connection to the so-called aliens. And I believe these aliens, these grays, these are demonic interdimensionals. Fallen angels, if you will. This is from a fairly new ad from Apple for the iPhone X. And in this ad we have the unicorns and we have the gray aliens. So for whatever reason, the unicorn now has become a symbol of this new movement, of this new trans movement, or the gender fluidity. The confusion. We're seeing unicorns everywhere now, right? You see it in all kinds of entertainment, media, advertisements. It's all over the place. It's the unicorn with a rainbow horn. And we also find this connection with the so-called aliens. It reminds me of this story right here. Again, this is a consciousness. This is a spirit, and it's moving through people. Man spends $50,000 on over 100 procedures to transform into a genderless alien. As I said, this spirit is moving through people. You may remember this young man right here. It's allegedly the guy that did a shooting at a Texas high school not long ago. And we take a look at his symbolism. He even wrote this out. This is what he was wearing on the day he committed the crime. Hammer and sickle, rebellion, rising sun, kamikaze tactics, iron cross bravery, Baphomet, evil, Cthulhu power. And I find it very interesting the mainstream media never touched this subject right here, but here's another one of the symbols that he had on him on the day of the crime, and it's for bisexual pride. So now we have the symbolism of the homosexuality movement, LGBTQ and all the rest. We also have the Baphomet as well. And we're starting to see how this connects and how this spirit works through people. Here's an image of the Baphomet from one of his social media sites. So is it any wonder we're getting strange stories like this? Doomsday fear, Google Translate warns of apocalypse, and bizarre EndTimes message about the Antichrist. So this is a subject many of us have been talking about for many years. Very interesting now we find this story coming out. Google Translate, warning of apocalypse, EndTimes message connected to the Antichrist. Another really interesting story, recent story about end of days. Mystery as sky turns black in the middle of the day in remote Russian towns, with locals blaming secret weapons tests, aliens, or the devil himself. One thing I'm always keeping an eye out for is how this system is treating the children, how this beast system goes after innocence and purity. There was an online suicide game called Blue Whale Challenge. It's very popular about a year ago. You may have heard about this. A 12-year-old girl says she fell for a game that tries to convince people to take their lives through a series of challenges. The girl's mother is now going public about an online game that is also known as the suicide game. It's called the Blue Whale Challenge. She says people think this is a hoax, but it's not. Patton said she found out her 12-year-old daughter was taking part when she found a series of deleted photos in her daughter's deleted album on her cell phone. The images showed her daughter carving the phrase F57 into her thigh. And here's the image in question where the young girl carved this into her thigh, F57. So the young girl actually got the invite to play the game through Instagram. And this right here is an exact copy of the different rules, I guess. After 50 days, the next step is to commit suicide. And you can read this for yourself. It's all pretty sick stuff. 50 different steps. A lot of children went through this, and some people actually lost their lives. So the game was actually linked to at least 130 teen deaths across Russia, and the police in the UK actually started warning parents about the challenge as well. A schoolgirl, 15 years old, posted this picture of a blue whale on Instagram shortly before jumping to her death. And jumping to your death is actually the 50th step in the Blue Whale Challenge. Now there's a new challenge. Fears of new Blue Whale-style suicide game rises as terrifying Momo Challenge takes over WhatsApp. So this is the symbol of Momo. This is the character of Momo. And I understand somebody made this up, right? But what spirit is working through them? Somebody is reaching out to children on different social media sources and asking them to get in contact with Momo. And once these children respond, they start getting really violent and disgusting images and messages. So again, these are spirits. It's the way I see this. We're dealing with principalities, with spirits. This is wickedness trying to find a way to get a hold of your children. I want to show you a few connecting stories with this idea as well. There's a couple that happened in 2016 and one that just recently happened. You may remember this one right here. Malaysia schools shut amid mass hysteria over sightings of a black figure, or the shadow person. Now this right here is one of the students' photos of the black figure at school. A school in Malaysia was forced to close after sightings of a mysterious black figure sparked a suspected outbreak of mass hysteria. It's always mass hysteria, right? The panic began last Monday when several students and teachers in the city of Kota Baru said they had seen a black figure in the school. Sightings continued to be reported for the next 2 days, with about 100 people affected by what they believed were supernatural experiences. The school was shut down on Thursday, while Islamic traditional experts, scholars, and even witch doctors were called in to carry out prayer sessions and exorcisms. Our students were possessed and disturbed by these spirits. We're not sure why it happened. We don't know what it is that affected us, a senior school staff member told the BBC. But the place is a bit old and these children can be disobedient and sometimes throw their rubbish around the school grounds. Perhaps they hit some jinns and offended the spirits, she added, using a local reference to ghosts. So before I get to the other two stories that connect to this, I actually want to show you a video. So I've been on YouTube about 9 years or so now, and I've always had an eye for the unusual. Throughout the years, I've noticed some of the best supernatural and paranormal videos have really just disappeared off the platform. But luckily, I've been keeping a lot of them for many, many years. Only the best that I could find. One of the creepier videos that I've been able to hold on to has to do with jinns. A jinn is a demon. It's what people in the Middle East call a demon, is a jinn. There's actually a lot of mythology around these. Some people believe that jinns can actually be good. But with all that being said, I'm going to show you a video here of a jinn. And what you're going to see is this thing actually manifest on camera before your very eyes. This is one of those videos I saw many years ago. It's been up and down on YouTube, different sites, different people have shared it. Then it disappears, it comes back. There's a few examples on YouTube right now. But it's really one of the most astonishing captures I've seen. So when the video starts out, it may be kind of hard to understand what you're looking at. There's something sitting on the floor. And what it turns out to be is an actual head wrap. It'll make a lot more sense as the video goes on, because in the beginning it's just the wrap kind of floating in the air. At the very end, you'll actually see the jinn or the shadow person or the demon literally manifest, and you'll see a full face and head underneath this head wrap. I know it sounds nuts, but just check it out for yourself.
سبحانك اللهم إني ظلمت نفسي فاغفر لي فإنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت.
So moving on, here's another example from May of 2016. Peruvian school kids claiming to be possessed by a demon have got the world completely baffled. It's disturbing for me to think about. It's as if someone kept on chasing me from behind. It was a tall man, all dressed in black and with a big beard, and it felt like he was trying to strangle me. My friends say I was screaming desperately, but I don't remember much, said one of the schoolgirls affected by an apparent demonic possession. Another schoolgirl, recalling the inexplicable event to the local media, said she was having trouble breathing and was desperately holding her neck as if someone was trying to suffocate her. She kept screaming, "Take it out!" At the end of April, around 20 children from the Elsa Pérez Flores school in Peru fell seriously ill. What truly baffled the eyewitnesses was that these children between 11 and 14 years of age were sharing a common hallucination of a tall man in black with a beard trying to kill them. The condition, captured on video, turned out to be contagious, as an alarming total of 80 to 100 children had been affected since. The school authorities, confused as the rest of us, are calling it a mass case of contagious demonic possession or interference. But again, we have the Hat Man, the Shadow Man, the Demon. And now we have this story from June of 2018, students possessed in Ronda School. Classes in Ronda National High School were suspended yesterday morning after some 30 female students were reportedly possessed by evil spirits, causing a panic in the school. It started when a student reportedly saw a faceless man with half of his body missing inside her classroom in Barangay Palanas. Students from other sections in grades 8, 9, and 10 reportedly suffered the same demonic possession. They began shaking, and some reportedly had trouble breathing, according to school officials who had to bring some of the students to the health center. Others became wild when they were brought to the Our Lady of Sorrows parish. The situation went on until 11 a.m., 9/11, interesting, prompting school officials to suspend classes since the other students became emotional. So this is reportedly not the first time the students were possessed. Last year, 4 students reportedly suffered from demonic possession. The school officials plan to invite a priest to hold a mass in the school and bless the classrooms to drive evil spirits away. I've been covering these kinds of events, these kinds of stories for many, many years now, and I've definitely seen an increase in the evil all around the world. It's really on a whole new level. We're seeing it manifest in so many different ways. One of the ways that we're seeing this manifest is through spiritual attacks. There's definitely been an increase in this. And speaking of that, I want to share with you a news clip. This is one of the best clips I've seen when it comes to real spiritual warfare and how these things can actually harm us. So check this out.
A home in Hanover, York County will be featured on a national TV show tomorrow. The homeowners say they're living in the middle of a violent haunting, and they invited Fox 43 to take a look inside. So Fox 43's Katie Kairos took the tour, and Katie, you weren't exactly prepared for what you saw.
No, I had no idea what to expect, and I know a lot of people don't believe in this stuff, but you can take a look at what happened to us inside the house and decide for yourself.
This home looks quiet from the outside, but owner Deanna Simpson says several ghosts are haunting it, and she's caught them in photos and recordings, including this one.
The majority are bad, dark forces, unhuman.
Just a couple minutes into the interview, our photojournalist, Nick, felt his wrist burning.
Are you okay? Did you get scratched?
He was behind the camera, but Simpson knew what had happened right away.
Oh my gosh.
He'd been scratched. Simpson says it's happened to her, her husband, and friends many times before.
That's unbelievable. God bless you. You know why? Because you're telling the story. Yeah. Because you're putting it out there. Because they don't want, that is their, I'm just telling you right now, that is their way of a warning.
She took us on a tour of the house. She shot video of this door.
If that is you, would you please shut that door? Oh my God.
It appears to close on its own.
You want to scare me so bad? Show me. Shut that door. Go ahead, shut that door. Oh my gosh, I about fell to my knees. I trembled because as soon as I said it, you never think that's going to happen.
Simpson says she often sees orbs on this stairway behind the door. It leads up to the master bedroom.
This determines whether I sleep upstairs or downstairs.
This part of the master bedroom and bathroom is an area where we've seen a lot of activity so far, and both Simpson and her cat have been pushed down these stairs before.
While we stood at the top of the stairs, Simpson recorded on her cell phone camera. She was hoping it would catch orbs, but it shows something else too. It looks like a hand.
Oh, what? Did you see that?
Simpson says it looks like someone she's seen before, and it's not a ghost. It's a demon. It's been seen in the basement.
When it came on me, I couldn't breathe, I couldn't scream, I couldn't move.
So far in this house, Nick has been scratched. I've been touched and pinched. We've seen strange lights on the walls and heard noises, and we haven't even gone down to the basement yet. Where is the place where you saw the Shadow Man picture? This photo was taken with a deer camera in the basement.
This picture right here is the Shadow Man. He's about 7 foot tall.
Simpson says she's scared by what's happened, but she and her husband have lived in this home for 7 years. Her grown daughters refuse to stay here.
We put everything into this house, and we do want to move, but we would have to list it at such a price to where we could recoup what we put in.
Meanwhile, the family has invited mediums, researchers, and priests to visit the home. The results of one investigation will appear on the Travel Channel show, The Dead Files. Simpson says there's a history of grisly deaths in the house.
I have to prove to people our life, so that way they'd understand.
Whatever you think, we weren't in a hurry to come back anytime soon. Well, this Dead Files episode on the home will air tomorrow on the Travel Channel, and there's going to be a lot more going on that show about the history.
Okay, that is bizarre.
It is.
This is our videographer, Nick Petrillo, who shot that, and you're serious. You actually got scratched.
I did get scratched. Basically, when we walked in the home, I didn't feel anything at first. And then as soon as we sat down and I was shooting the interview with Katie, I felt it was something like a piece of hot metal almost. It was really strange. I never felt anything like that before. And then I looked down on my wrist and I noticed there was a scratch there. I wasn't going to say anything at first. And then Deanna asked me, are you okay? Did you get scratched? And then I admitted that I noticed that I was like, yeah, this actually happened. I've never felt anything like that in my life.
Did you believe in ghosts and demons prior to this happening?
I liked watching the shows, but I
Okay.
actually didn't really believe in it until this actually happened. I was very skeptical until this.
And so, has your opinion on it changed as well? I mean, both of you.
Yes. I didn't think anything would happen in this home. I mean, we brought a Ouija board because I thought we'd have to bring it in and see if anything happened. And Deanna didn't even want us to bring it in the door. She thought it's just dangerous with what's going on in her house. And now, there were just things that we can't explain that happened there. You know, she has a lot of photos of people with scratches that have been in her house before, but I never thought that was going to happen when we went inside the home.
Wow, that is really interesting. How does she even sleep at night? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
They're trying to play a trick on us.
And there you have it. That's what I wanted to share with you today. It's all about the spirit. It's all about the spirits. It's all about the spirit you have within you. We are in the season of the end times, there's no doubt. I constantly have my eyes to the skies. Just remember to stay aware, keep your eyes open to such things. It's good to watch for such things, but to not live in fear. So thanks once again for watching my video. This is what I wanted to share with you guys. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I'll talk to you a little later.